What is stopping you from achieving a freestanding handstand as a beginner? You might have asked yourself. If you feel like you are trying to continually drive up a no-through road, then hang around. This video's aim is to spark awareness of what may be holding you back, rather than going into detail of the specific drills themselves. You can find loads of that online already, and besides, context is everything. Drills alone are not enough. You need to know which ones to use, when to use them, how to perform them correctly for your body, and when to move on to something more difficult. This is better handled with direct, individualized coaching, though my free 4-part video lesson, link in the description, will get you off to a great start. That being said, today we can explore some very clear locked gates I see regularly when people first start with handstands. In no particular order, fear of being upside down itself. You're not going to get very far if you're afraid of being upside down. Good news is there are some basic positions that allow you to invert with a lower strength and risk level than handstand, such as headstand, which can be done against the wall as well. You've also got this neat position, which is useful to practice when learning to push the floor away from your face, just like in a handstand. As well as a few different variations on the box, depending on your starting level of flexibility and strength. Anyway, I hope this gives you some ideas if being upside down itself is an issue for you. Inadequate physical preparation. The old joke I've been making for years in my classes is that you would struggle to learn how to dance the tango or salsa if you could only stand unsteadily on your feet for 20 seconds before needing a rest. It is going to take you a long time to learn the dance moves. Think of learning to handstand in this same way, the dance being the balancing part and the drills and the skill element. One of the most important initial benchmarks is a 60-second chest-to-wall handstand, around one hand distance away from the wall, to build some capacity that we can then work with. Why we love this one is that it's very scalable. You can see now on the side view that it can be done on an angle, which puts less pressure on the wrists, less load through the shoulders, and basically no risk of falling over onto your back. Those things obviously increase as you get closer, but then you get that opportunity to scale up confidence-wise and strength-wise as you adapt. Core strength plays a much smaller role than most people think, though if you struggle to hold the first position I demonstrated for 30 seconds, definitely build it up. 60 seconds in the second position is a safe bet. We call these dish holds. You gotta warm up and take care of your wrists. Here I am demonstrating wrist half circles and wrist push-ups for mobility and conditioning. This is non-negotiable. And if your wrists are aching, take as many rest days as needed. It is necessary to work on horizontal and vertical pulling strength too. Handstands are a very push-dominant practice. We've got to balance that out by working on our pull. Pull-ups, pull-up negatives, you can use a band, you can do lat pull-downs are all valid options. More overall strength equals more stability, and this makes learning to handstand a lot easier, especially when it comes to balancing. Ring rows are an option for the vertical pulling part, though you can do seated band rows, cable rows, bent over dumbbell or barbell rows. I'll leave that up to you, but just know that there's plenty of options if you don't have access to a pair of rings. Being terrified of falling. Fear of falling is probably one of the most common things stopping adults from a handstand. Look, if you're really afraid, working hands-on in person with a coach is in my opinion the only effective option. I prefer and teach the step fall demonstrated here. If falling is an issue, you need to address it. Otherwise you're always going to be stuck with having the wall behind you, which is a good option in the beginning, but eventually you want to be able to do your handstand everywhere and not be tethered. Find a safe and supportive environment to confront this fear so that you're then able to move through it. No skill or technique. Just like shooting hoops or practicing guitar, the element of skill is at the core of handstand training. If you look like this, you've got some work to do. Don't be a falling tree. Rather, a leaf in the wind. Handstand balance is not static, it is very dynamic. It is just that over time, the corrections become more subtle and refined, giving the illusion of stillness. There are some great drills such as wrist drives and chest to wall balances, which help teach you to correct overbalance, falling over towards your back, and underbalance, falling to your feet. These require careful, thoughtful preparation. Don't go diving into any of these drills if you're completely new to handstands. These balance mechanics are covered in my free training course, link in the description. And let's not forget the entry. Jump and pray is not the ideal strategy. The movement needs to be broken down into stages. The overall point here is that whilst physical conditioning is needed to initially be able to even do any kind of handstand, it will not get you consistently entering and holding one. Not practicing enough. A question I put forth to the group of each new class or workshop that I teach is, who here has practiced at least 3 times per week for 30 minutes or more for 3 months consistently? Sometimes not many hands go up. When they do, the person almost always has a pretty solid handstand or is at least able to do a freestanding one. Take a look at this graphic. First comes showing up, i.e. practicing. Nothing else matters without this first. Then comes volume. How much do you do when you practice, and how often? The earlier example is not a bad starting point, though some will need to do less and some more. Again, context. But a hint is that 5 minutes at the end of your yoga, twice per week, is not going to cut it. Drills, or what we actually do when we practice. Then how we seek improvement through ever-increasing physical and technical challenges. Lastly, the color of your yoga pants, training outfit, socks, or whatever stylistic clothing decisions you make. Consider the 5 topics covered. Think about which are a challenge for you and stopping your progress, then take action to address them. Alright, that was a long one. Hit the bell icon to get notified when I release a new video. Like the video to support the channel and subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to hit the link in the description for your free lessons. Thanks for hanging around.